Hello to all YouTubers and welcome back to another video review by yours truly, NewyorkSteelo. And today, of course, as promised, we're going to fully review this custom trigger system's Sump Refugium. Absolutely awesome. I am extremely excited about how I was able to play around with the system. Now, before I get into the system, let me say this. It'll take me a few days to really get into the Sump Refugium. I mean, there's two different ways that you can run this Sump Refugium. And what I'm gonna do is that for the first time in this video, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna edit the video in the middle of the video itself and show you this way in which I've set it up in the first part. And then on the second part, in this same video, I'm gonna show you the other option that you can choose to run this Sump Refugium. Absolutely awesome. I mean, trigger systems, big ups to you guys. Quite frankly, if any of you are watching this video, you're gonna see why I highly recommend you to get this Sump Refugium. Now let's talk dimensions here. Let's get a little bit closer, and we're gonna talk about the dimensions. We're gonna talk about how it works, and we're also gonna talk about some little changes that I've added to the overall inside of the stands to make the Sump Refugium work even better. But the plumbing here, we're gonna make a video detailed on that particular subject in itself. I really want you guys to understand that it's really not that difficult to do. Now, the plumbing that you're looking at here is not final. This is just me getting the Sump Refugium to develop that bacteria and just, let it run for a while. It's taken quite some time to get the system up and running, but I cannot stress this enough. It is important for you guys to understand that patience is key to being successful in this hobby. If you rush into it and you buy everything in one day, that's awesome. But if you rush into it, chances are you're gonna run into problems. Me, myself, I live paycheck to paycheck. So every week I buy a new toy, and it can be, this hobby can be expensive, but we're gonna get the system up and running, and I guarantee you guys are gonna walk away from my channel knowing a little bit more about this hobby. Possibly talking to a local fish store and putting him in his place when he tries to sell you something that it's not adequate for what you're trying to achieve here. So let's talk dimensions here. Let's get closer here. Now, trigger systems, right? They manufacture Sump Refugiums in different sizes, and they do have their standard applications that you can actually use and choose two different types of Sump Refugiums. You can choose the ruby one, which comes with red acrylic, which is an awesome option, preventing some of the lighting from the refugium to escape the refugium itself, or you can go with the crystal application. They also have the Sump application, or they have the one that comes with a separate refugium. If you go to their website, guys, really study their different designs here, just in case you ever decide that you want to get yourself one of these Sump Refugiums here, because I absolutely highly recommend it. Now, this one here was modeled after the Ruby 36S. Now, the 36S is 36 inches long. However, in my case, it would have been difficult for me to add this protein skimmer. It's an Aqua CEV 240, which has a relatively large footprint, and considering that I wanted to add this piece of PVC here, doing this basically will prevent me even further in adding this type of filter or protein skimmer to a Sump Refugium, because it makes it longer than it needs to be. So for this reason, and for the simple fact that I really am looking into overstocking this 90-gallon system, I mean, it's gonna be complete SPSs and fish wall to wall, I really wanted to overdo it with the filtration system. And that's exactly what I've done here. So my protein skimmer is rated for double its size, and because of the large footprint, I asked Trigger Systems to make my first stage 17 inches by 15 inches. Now this is a great option because you know, if I ever want to upgrade to a larger system, I can definitely do that and incorporate this Sump Refugium easily, no problem. You know, typically for a 90-gallon system, a Sump Refugium that's 36 inches long will suffice. I mean, it will be good enough for you to have a decent filtration. In this case, I wanted the ultimate type of filtration. So the drains here are going to drain down into the first stage. Now the first stage has this application construction type of setting here, which allows you to have the bulkheads that hold the tubing and the filter socks. And it drains down into this large area, which is 17 by 15. Now, in the back of the protein skimmer, and I've just, once again, I've set it up in this manner momentarily only. And I'm going to show you guys in the second part of this video the other application in which I'm going to run it with. So the protein skimmer is located down at that end, and of course this is a very large area here. Now there are two ways that you can run this Sump Refugium. The majority of people love to run their Sump Refugiums without the filter socks. And that's because filter socks basically are detritus traps and can become nitrate factory and could sort of prevent the protein skimmer from removing a lot of the debris, which gets trapped in that filter sock. And that's exactly what I'm going to show you in the second part of this video. I'm going to show you guys how you can run it without the filter socks, and I'm also going to show you that in order for you to do this and prevent micro bubbles from escaping back into the main display, you will have to raise the water level. So stay tuned for the second part of this video. But we're moving on here to the first divider. Now this divider is just absolutely awesome. First things first, it does bring a probe holder, which let me zoom in here. This is actually my probes, which are positioned in this way. It's an awesome feature to have. If you don't have a Sump Refugium that has probe holders, they do sell them individually. So you can easily get yourself, you know, some sort of magnetic probe holders which you can add to your Sump Refugium. But the great feature about this one in particular is, of course, it has the same type of application in which my do-it-yourself Sump Refugium did. So it basically has this divider and it has a slit. Let's see if I can get this to you guys under the correct lighting, so you guys can see that the slit here allows the water to travel in the middle of this divider here towards the section of the refugium. Now this to me is an awesome design for the simple fact that it keeps the bubbles over at the top of that first stage. You know, it'll keep the majority of just micro bubbles are going to make it into the second stage. And as you can see here, even with this protein skimmer pumping all this water, there literally is no micro bubbles in this refugium stage. So the refugium stage itself is actually 13 inches by 15 inches. It's going to be ample enough to grow many, you know, copepods, amphipods, all the life that you want, you know, and excessive amounts of macroalgae. Now, in this stage here, absolutely awesome design, totally different than what I've had before in different sumps, because this one in particular takes the sponge and puts it located higher, you know, kind of causing the Sump Refugium to be even quieter than it needs to be. You can see that the water sort of billows over here with this divider, which contains teeth here, which, you know, the water travels over and just easily billows over to this foam pad. And built in this divider section here, which is a little over 2 inches. Awesome design, absolutely awesome design. There is some shelves here which are made out of egg crate, which on the top hold the foam pad, and in the middle here, hold any kind of media that you want. Now, in this particular case, I've taken this section and added a lot of carbon, trying to get my water ready for when the live rock and sand comes in. But best of all here, because it uses this type of design, it does prevent micro bubbles from making it back into the display. You know, the bottom here is relatively wide and open, and so I have plenty of space here, which is the last stage is 6 inches by 15 inches. Now, I have not fully plumbed the system because there will be a Mag 7 here, which will power the chiller here, and that is because if I add the chiller to the return pump, I slow down significantly the turnover rate over the entire refugium. So this is the application which is recommended in trigger system for you to run the system in this manner. Just like you're looking at it here, 10 inches of water height, you know, having the protein skimmer above the water level, such as you see here. I've actually created some egg crate. This will be changed as well. I don't know if I'm going to keep the skimmer in this position, turn it around, or even place the exit of the skimmer above this divider here so that the skimmer will be releasing water into the refugium stage. So we're going to come right back. I'm going to edit the video here, and I'm going to show you a different way to run your Sump Refugium, this one in particular, without the filter socks. So I'll be right back in a moment. Okay, so we're back with part 2 of this part in the video here, you know, and there's been some changes here. Now, you know, if you look at the drain here, there are no longer filter socks. Now, I mentioned this in the first part of the video, very important. Some of you guys really don't like to keep filter socks because you have to change them out every 2 to 3 days. I mean, filter socks are just, you know, a tedious, you know, part of marine aquarium keeping, the maintenance and everything involved with it. However, I will tell you that either way that you go, you're going to be successful. If you decide to run the system, this Sump Refugium, if you do ever get it in the future, and you decide to run it with the filter socks, just, you know, buy yourselves a second or third pair of filter socks, and then you simply change them out every couple of days and wash them out with a little bit of bleach in your washing machine. You know, they'll come out good as new and ready to be used. So that's one option. However, in order for me to run it without the filter socks, as you see here, now there's a lot more water movement going on in this first stage. But let me tell you this. This Sump Refugium was designed to be able to handle this. Now, the fact that the dividers themselves are actually lower than the overall Sump Refugium, it will prevent some of this splashing that's going on towards the top from making it outside of the refugium, outside of the first section here. So awesome design, guys, and if you really want to run it this way, it's a great option. And I will tell you that I will probably, there's a 99.9% chance that this is the way that I'm going to run my Sump Refugium. Now, a few things I need to cover here are the bulkheads here. Now, this Sump Refugium does not come with the hoses, so you have to buy that separately. It does come with the black bulkheads, and if you're gonna run it in this application here, it is important for you to buy yourself a long piece of PVC, as you see down here, extending all the way down to the bottom. And this is to prevent noise, because what happens is that the bulkhead is located that much higher than the water level, and if you don't have this piece of PVC going into the water level, inside of the water in the first stage, there's going to be a lot of water coming down and splashing into the surface of the water, and so it's going to be a lot noisier. So you can also drill holes into this piece of long PVC pipe. However, I do not want to do that. What I want to do is keep it in the way that it is, so that the amount of pressure and the amount of water movement in this first stage is immense. If you drill holes into the piece of PVC, what happens is that the flow of water exiting the bottom of the PVC is going to be that much slower, because some of the water is exiting through the middle of the PVC piping. I don't want that. What I want is a constant, strong water movement and pressure coming down into this first stage. And what is the benefit of that, you ask? Keeping detritus suspended in this first stage, eventually traveling into the Sump Refugium area. So I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to say here, that if you're going to run it this way, it can actually be beneficial for you, because instead of trapping all the detritus in the filter sock, most of the detritus will be suspended via the strong water movement in this first stage, picked up by the protein skimmer, or will travel over to the Sump Refugium, to the Refugium area. Now, there is one problem here, but there's a solution. To every problem, there is a solution. And the problem is that, considering that there's a lot of water agitation here and bubbles which are traveling up and breaking up in the surface, it does create a lot more micro bubbles. So before, you only had to worry about the micro bubbles coming out of the protein skimmer. Now you have to worry about the micro bubbles coming out of the drains. There's a solution for that, and the solution would be for you to raise the water level 1.5 to 2 inches. And as you can see, it is running completely different than it was in the first part of the video. And this is because, I don't know if you can see some of the micro bubbles that are making it into the refugium stage, but let me tell you this, once the refugium is fully packed with macroalgae, which is what you want to achieve, then and only then is it safe for you to prune it a little bit. You know what I mean? And all that microalgae is going to block off most of these microbubbles, and these microbubbles will diminish in time. They really will. But if you're going to run it in this application, what happens is that if you run it without the filter sock and run it in the way that I showed it in the first stage, where the water level was much lower, what happens is that all these little micro bubbles are going to splash into the sponge, and some of it will make it into the last stage. But if you raise the water level, they will further break off in the surface, and so there's not much of an agitation going on in this last stage, preventing micro bubbles from making it back into the main display. Or you can actually run it with the water level lower, like it was in the first part of the stage, and simply add maybe some poly filter on top of the foam pad. Will prevent a lot of the micro bubbles from making it back into the display. The options are limitless here, and this Sump Refugium is absolutely awesome. I did want to cover one thing here, and that is that because the dividers are lower, you can run it in this manner and the water won't spill outside of the Sump Refugium. So that's awesome in itself. But what I really wanted to cover here is that when I did the review of the Aqueon, considering that it's a different design and the protein skimmer is located in the last stage, I still get a lot of questions about it. Well, won't it consume all the copepods and everything like that? I'm here to tell you that that is a myth. There is a science behind marine aquarium keeping. The more you look at it, the more you understand it. And considering the fact that more than 90% of Sump Refugiums incorporate some sort of a sponge, like you see here, how do you expect the life, the macro of fauna, copepods, to make it into the last stage? Not only is it going to be blocked by the foam pad, but the return pump itself is going to be sucking up most of this life and killing the majority of it. Now, some of it does make it, but that is the reason why I incorporate a deep sand bed in my main display, to promote that growth of life within the main display itself. So, you know, what I wanted to just clear up in this part of the video, you know, off topic here, is that whether you run the protein skimmer in the first stage or in the last stage, a sump refugium that is located below, such as you see here, is only going to work for you as a filter. In other words, all these micro and macro fauna, copepods, amphipods, mini brittle stars, all of these things that are going to be growing, you're going to grow them for the purpose of them keeping the sump refugium clean only. You understand what I'm saying? Instead of, if what you're looking for is to feed your main display, then you need to really look into incorporating a hang on the back refugium. Now, I made a video on this. It's called Hang on the Back Refugium versus Refugium Below, so you guys can understand that there is a lot of myths and facts posted in many different forums. It's really not that difficult to understand marine aquarium keeping, and you know, there's a science behind it. If you love your system, you will stare at it for hours and figure out different ways to run your sump refugium and different ways to better your system. So I hope that you guys have really found this video informational. Awesome custom sump in this application here. A little more expensive than, say, your regular manufactured sump refugium. Highly recommend you to get it. Contact Trigger Systems if you have any questions. You can send them an email, and many more videos to come, guys. There's also I'm also going to talk about, I got some equipment that's coming in tomorrow, so there will be another video released before the end of the week. And also wanted to touch up on these things here. Let me get them from the table, show you guys what this is here. Now, this here is an LED light that is adjustable. You can actually dim it or raise it, and I bought these with some Velcro simply just to add them to the top of the tank here, because tomorrow or the day after, when the refugium lights get here, I'm going to, you know, install the lighting, and I will do a part 2 video review of this once everything is running the way it should and the plumbing and whatnot. But in most cases, the refugium light is not going to be enough to light my whole sump refugium, so I will be using these, and there will be a video in the future that's going to cover this. Many more videos to come, guys. By the time you walk away from my channel, you will be more knowledgeable, I guarantee that. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Please rate my videos, comment, subscribe. The more you guys, you know, push me to make videos and rate my videos and support my channel, the more videos I will make. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. This is NewyorkSteelo signing out. Peace.